Joining us this morning, fellow young gun, it says here, House Majority Leader Eric Cantor joins us from Washington. Leader Cantor, good morning to you.
Carl, Becky, Joe, how are you?
We're good. It's always tough to follow a State of the Union. You don't have the audience, obviously much less name recognition, but given that, how do you think Paul Ryan did?
I think Paul did great. You know, he delivered the response and really relayed the very sober prospects for our country if we don't act and act now to come together and address our fiscal problems. I mean, we've all talked before. We know we've got some fiscal issues here. Families are still facing the prospects of their economic security not being a sound one, and so we've got our job to do. And Paul delivered, you know, sort of the outline of where we're going to head as a Republican majority this Congress.
Does that mean embracing the roadmap as he has written it to a specific degree? I mean, when do we start getting endorsements on that plan, word for word, from Republicans?
Well, Carl, you know, and I've been on the show, and I'm sorry I'm not in the studio with you all this morning, but, you know, Paul and I, along with Kevin McCarthy, wrote a book, and we reserved a chapter in that book for the roadmap. And I've always said, I believe in the direction that the roadmap heads. We've got to have a serious discussion here on Capitol Hill and throughout the country about these entitlements. The problem is, you know as well as I do, the leader in the Senate has said that Social Security doesn't have any fiscal problems. Well, I think that both the president and we Republicans have said all along there are some problems. We've got to go ahead right now and say, look, for those 55 and older, we're not going to change anyone's benefits. But for those 54 and younger in this country, we're going to have some serious discussion about their benefits and how we work to save Social Security and Medicare. Otherwise, those systems are going to go bankrupt.
Last night, the president talked about Social Security. As you know, he said we wanted to change it, but without subjecting Americans' guaranteed retirement income to the whims of the stock market. Does that mean that any conversation about entitlements is going to have trouble even getting off the ground? Because the whole speech is sort of centered around this conversation really getting started.
Well, you know, Carl, I sort of did not like that aspect of the president's remarks because I think everything should be on the table as far as entitlements are concerned. And look, you know, if you look at the speech as a whole, obviously the president tried to strike a very optimistic tone for a better future. You know, as a father of 3 teenagers, that's a priority for me, for sure. But there are things that we can work together on, such as trying to rein in spending now. You know, we Republicans in Congress put a resolution on the floor yesterday in the House which said we're going to bring down spending to 2008 levels for the remainder of this year. You know, we're also going to be unveiling our budget in a couple of months, and I think we'll draw some contrast with the president's vision of how we need to go forward so that we can address right here and now the spending issue. And then I do think we all need to come together, including the Senate and Leader Reid, and talk about these entitlements.
Well, yeah, you're Leader Cantor, and you walked in right behind the president. I saw that last night. I'm like, I knew that guy when. And are you returning are you still returning our calls when we call you?
You know, I thought we had a standing invite to come join you on the set up in New York.
Well, you do.
I mean, come on.
You do. I'm just trying to figure out if you're still the same. You know, we're feeling each other out here. Hey, no, but seriously.
I assure you, my wife wouldn't allow anything otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. The boss. All right. So, but Eric, I'm going to try to ask this simply. Do you think that the tone and the substance of the speech last night either confirmed or refuted the notion that the president has made a conscious decision to govern from the center? Did it confirm that, or are we back to really wondering what's going on?
Joe, I think I'd respond by saying actions speak louder than words. And you hit right on the issue that everyone will be looking at as to whether he's going to decouple himself from the agenda for the last 2 years.
Well, I heard a lot of investing, Eric. I heard so much. I mean, it was an hour and 10 minutes, and how much was about investing?
Right, and this is the thing. We've said as a new Republican majority, we're going to be a cut and grow majority. And all of a sudden, the White House is sort of posturing as a cut and invest White House. Invest is code word for spend. And that's where I'm a little hesitant to say, absolutely, Mr. President, we like where you're headed. So again, we're trying to say, look, we can work together on simplification of the tax code. We can work together on bringing down corporate rates so we can create more jobs here at home, to work on those trade deals together. All these are things I think we can agree on, but when we start to talk about redistributing wealth again rather than creating the wealth, that's where a lot of us get a little nervous and want to push back.
Well, then you must be saying that the economy is healthy enough to go without any kind of government support. I mean, the kinds of things that the Democrats would argue have kept unemployment at least from going any higher than it already is.
You know what, Carl, I just think that's crazy talk, right? I mean, we've already seen now spending, investing from Washington's standpoint hasn't done much to, quote unquote, stimulate the economy. We know where jobs come from. It's the private sector. We've got to spark innovation and put the confidence back in investors, small business people across this country so that we can see a return to confidence. Republicans in the House are going about doing that. We're going to be very, very focused in our oversight role to try and stop these anti-growth and business regulations so we can see the economy start to grow again.
How do you go back to your district and deliver the message you've just given us, but tell people how it's going to affect them? Whether it's the number of teachers, whether it's the future of Social Security for their kids. I mean, how tough a sell is that once you start going back home?
Well, Carl, when I go home, I talk to the folks that I represent in hopefully the same way they are discussing around their kitchen table their finances. We're spending money we don't have in Washington, and you can't sustain it. We know that Washington has grown to a point, and the federal government has gotten into so many different things that it ought not be in, and it's making it very difficult for small businesses to grow. And that's where we are focused here in Washington to say, look, we're spending billions of dollars on programs that really are not achieving the results that we've set out. Together with the fact that we continue to go and borrow against our kids' future, that's got to stop. That's the message that I take when I go home.
We got to go. You did ask former Speaker Pelosi to sit with you last night. Who did you sit with?
I sat with my neighbor, Bobby Scott, a Democratic congressman who represents part of the city of Richmond along with me. Yeah.
Were your feelings hurt?
No, listen, I was hopeful that I would set the example that we could all sit together in terms of the leadership in the House. Unfortunately, former Speaker Pelosi saw otherwise.
It was just like being back in high school for you, wasn't it?
I mean, you know, with this whole seating thing was sort of an interesting twist on the evening.
I mean, that's the first time you've been turned down, I don't think.
Absolutely not.
Keep trying, because sometimes they come around.
That'd be your date. That'd be your date, too.
Leader Cantor, good to see you, as always.
Outing you.
Busy 24 hours for you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.